Hello everybody, Tim Norris here, aka GreyElephant.
I'm Carmen Norris.
And welcome to a quick review by GreyElephant Gaming. Today we're going to be talking about...
Mythotopia.
Woo! It's by Treefrog Games, and Asmodee actually sent it to us. Very interesting game. We got a lot to talk about with this one. Now, one thing you may not know is that during this quick review, the purpose of it is to give our opinions quick and to the point. We even script our little thoughts here to make sure we don't forget anything. But what should they do if they want to know more about this game?
If you want to know more about the game, be sure that you check out the live play, because then you can actually see the game in action.
Live play. So why don't we dive into this? All right, so my first point is that I really like how this combines area control and deck building into one game. I love both of those types of mechanics. And when I first saw that was the types of mechanics, well, I was very interested in it. And it reminded me of Princess of the Dragon Throne, again, another game that I really love, with a few other twists.
Yeah, what I find interesting is that though it might have reminded you of Princess of the Dragon Throne and looked like area control, there's really a lot more to it. I mean, you get points in various ways, like defeating dragons, taking over certain areas that have runes, building roads. So there's really a lot of ways to get points, and the way you win the game is with the points. Yeah,
speaking of points, a negative I have about this game is the way this score tracker works around the board. It starts at 12 and it ends at 68. I do not understand why in the world. It is beyond me of why they made it. Even in the rule book it states that once you surpass 68 points, that it's up to you to figure out how you'll keep track of your score. So in other words, you let me keep track of my score all the way up to 68 points throughout the entire game, but then all of a sudden I score enough, and I feel like I'm being penalized and I'm being punished by scoring more than 68 points. It's lame, especially given that there is plenty of space on the board where they could have put a score tracker all the way around it from 0 to 100.
It is strange. They have plenty of space.
It is extremely strange.
They just didn't do it. Well, I do have a couple of negatives, since you've already mentioned one.
I brought it up.
Yeah.
Negative Nellies.
You have a chance to add, I'm not sure what they're called, but like favor cards.
It's these cards
here. You get to purchase them.
Yep.
And that's a pretty cool idea, honestly. But I really feel like they're unbalanced.
Oh, I agree. I sure do.
There's a couple of cards that give you a free action, such as Marauders, in which you can remove someone's...
Militia.
The militia is also overpowered because it gives you a free action and you get to obtain an army for free.
Yeah. And there's the Marauders you're talking about. And
the Marauders let you, free action, remove someone's army, and that is just really annoying. I'm the one who had it, so, you know, I laugh, but...
Mind you, after she used that on me, that game has never entered again. I make sure it's out every other game after that.
the card's out now, so...
Tick me off!
The conditions for the game, for end game, make it possible for it to go on and on and on.
Yeah.
You know, once the fourth card is depleted of VP, then someone has to decide to end the game, and they have to be able to win the game. And that has to be their first action on their turn. So basically, the other person can, you know, plop a few armies down, and then they can't end it, and then they have to plop armies down. And it goes back and forth and all the way around the table, you know, over and over again, and no one can end the game because of this.
And basically it's just a little bit back and forth until one person just doesn't either have armies, or they just didn't draw cards to place armies.
Or they just didn't draw cards to place armies, basically. So, really, I think it should just end immediately after that fourth card is depleted.
I agree on both aspects. It does not feel like the cards you can add to your deck are very balanced. That's number one. Number two, this is probably the most annoying aspect, I think, is the game just doesn't want to end. It's like that never-ending story, the board game. And, you know, I really wanted to trust the designer and play the game the way that it was intended, though. But after 5 plays, I'm pretty well over that. I don't want to do that anymore. And from here on out, I plan to play that after the fourth card is drained of its VP, that the game will end. You finish up the round, so everybody has equal turns, but the game's going to end immediately. You're going to figure up all the battles that were going on, tally up all the points, and then that's it. Then you'll have a champion and just crown them.
Yeah, I think that's better. You know, final thoughts. I think this is a pretty cool Euro. It's a little more dry than some of the games we've been reviewing lately. You know, the components aren't really exciting. But it does have its own little niche. I really didn't compare it to another game when we were playing it and think, oh, you know, well, I would just rather play this one, or we could just play this one and be the same deal. So I think that it's unique enough that I enjoy playing the game. I just feel like maybe it needs a few house rules, like Tim said, you know, take a couple of the overpowered cards out, or maybe change them, and of course change the end game.
Maybe just make it to where they're not free actions.
Right.
Force them to become an action, and then
if they
won't
weren't
be quite as
action,
powerful.
then they wouldn't be as powerful.
Exactly.
Right.
Okay. So yeah, and was you done with your conclusion?
That's it. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And for me, overall, despite the terrible end game and the wonky score tracker, I do find I enjoy playing the game. In fact, I do find I enjoy playing it a lot, to be honest with you. And I think it's drab looking too. The artwork's not very exciting. The board itself's not very exciting. So it's funny. So it's going to need something really good to try to draw you in, because, you know, the goofy score tracker, the goofy end game, the boring artwork. So the mechanics, though, are a lot of fun to play, I feel. I like the deck building. I like the area control. I like being able to manipulate my cards by using them as either a province or a resource. I enjoy digging in and building cities and castles to secure key locations. I like placing ships, which add to my attack or the defense. I like adding cards to my reserve in order to make a bigger play on my next turn. So all in all, I simply like the game, and I think possibly you could too. But I really suggest
that you watch the live play, because then you can actually see how the mechanics are really
played
unique
out
and cool. You know,
No.
I mean, we enjoy the fact that the cards are used for action, so you can check that out.
Absolutely. And most importantly, you get to see who won.
And you will see who won.
That's right. So as usual, we appreciate you guys watching. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.